I'm David Jones. I'm the chairman, so I'm a non-executive really, of TigerBay based in Cardiff. From university, I worked for a tour operator called Aspro, which was a package holiday charter-based big tour operator doing mainly Eastern and Western Mediterranean. I ran the IT systems for that business for around about 10 years. Then I set up a company called TravelLink. So I was the founder of TravelLink, ran that for 10 years. And the last few years I've been working with several colleagues at TigerBay. So I chair the board, so I don't have a day-to-day operational role in TigerBay. And I do a number of other things as well as TigerBay. TigerBay seeks to take the complexity out of tour operating booking problems. So typically when we work with tour operators, we look at complex issues to do with inventory, complex issues to do with pricing, a lot of work that we do at the moment to do with content, making sure content can sit in a specific place but then be used in different distribution channels, including, of course, increasingly mobile these days, and also client data. So typically 4 areas where there's complex problems for tour operators selling holidays, and what we seek to do is put systems in place to simplify as much as we possibly can all that complexity. We'll evolve our offerings probably from 2 perspectives: what our clients need and what their demands are going to be, which is increasingly diverse and sometimes challenging from a commercial and a technical sense. So building new product and doing more of what we can in a better way, such as how do we distribute better on mobile, how do we make better use of analytics and data. But the other part of really what we're going to be doing in terms of development is looking at technological changes. And obviously in the technology world, that is moving on at such a pace now that the nature of innovation means that big demands are going on to travel companies, and tour operators, particularly UK ones, need to keep pace with that. So it's a big question of solving client problems plus being innovative at the same time. I think the overall feeling is that there's a slight sense of optimism. Obviously there's been a very hard 5 years that we've gone through in the UK. There is a sense that we're coming through that. That doesn't mean that the economic landscape is not volatile, because it certainly is. And I guess you just need to look at, where are we, middle of June, you look at Ukraine, you look at Iraq, which are not big holiday destinations, but Egypt and Thailand are, and they've got geopolitical issues as well surrounding them. So there's a whole range of volatility that the marketplace has at the moment in terms of where the destinations really perhaps are struggling. Generally though, sense of optimism, I think. I guess you need to look at companies like Airbnb, where a couple of years ago, you would have been a fool to think that anybody would effectively rent out a spare room by the day to somebody they'd never heard of before. And the nature of that change now is accelerating. It's so rapid that the increasing challenges of the travel industry generally, the tour operating industry in particular, are to keep up and try and get ahead of some of those trends. So travel was one of the first products, the first high-value product that was successfully sold online. Many have followed on since then, but travel needs to make sure it's at the very front of that innovation. What we managed to do, I think, in travelling was to have 3 or 4 different sets of technology that we went through in the 10-year period of that business, and we managed to pivot, to use the in phrase at the moment, pivot in terms of the way that we developed that technology, including obviously riding the internet wave that happened. And it's particularly pleasing now at TigerBay that we're able to draw together the internet needs, the requirement of a B2B transaction and a B2C transaction, but rolling that into a single system. So the complexity I talked about earlier on is all to do with the way, for instance, you have a complex pricing model that works in-house at a call centre, but also works in terms of an online presence. And it's simplifying that complexity, but I'm probably most proud, really, of the work we're doing. When I started out, I spent a lot of time talking about the nature of the product, getting verification that the idea was not just a mad idea. And that was very necessary, and you can understand people wanting to start out doing what we do, which is build technology products, adopting that same approach, talk to as many people as you can. The problem that you get these days is that the nature of change is so dramatic that you need to talk to people, not just for verification of an idea, but for every person you talk to who says this is a good idea, you need to find someone else who says it's completely crazy, because it's the crazy ideas which are the ones that are developing. And again, a classic one really is Airbnb, because it's 20 years since someone set up a website that decided that they could sell on auction second-hand clothes, and that became eBay, and now it's kind of taken over the world. And it was 20 years ago since somebody decided they were going to have an online bookshop where they would send books to your home, which is completely unheard of. So you need ideas which are mad and crazy, because by the time you get them to market, someone else is going to have made that innovation mainstream. If there was one issue, I think, where the travel industry is behind the curve, I think it's information security. A lot of my work is in information security as well as TigerBay. And on a daily basis, again in the middle of June now, we go back to the hacks at eBay. There was a hack of a female shoe shop called Office just a couple of days ago. Every day there's an incident. And it is easy to assume that those which are under threat are those which are banks, or those that have got financial assets. However, the value of data is just as important to thieves on the internet. And I think the travel industry in particular is behind the curve on understanding those threats.